Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, pre-market report. Hey, just real quick, yesterday, I did not do a post-market wrap-up, as I'm certain most of you are aware. Listen, I just hit a wall yesterday. I couldn't do it. I've been explaining to people for quite a long time that this thing just really gets to me sometimes, and I just had to disconnect. I'm feeling a little bit better today. It was just like a mental kind of breakdown a little bit. But anyway, look, I'm back on track here, people. And I want to put some stuff together for you this morning, understanding what's happening, where we're going in 2025. I mean, all you got to do is connect the freaking dots here. And the trajectory has not changed, despite, again, a swapping out of the creature that sits behind the Resolute desk. It's not going to change anything. All right. So with that, I was just writing a few things down this morning. Let me just cover this with you real quick. What I tend to do is just write down things that I feel are important when I think about something, when I read a particular article or a piece of data or whatever it might be. So I've been talking about 2025 for quite a long time now. And again, my job is essentially to connect the dots. It's really all it is. And sometimes I literally do that. I'll take a piece of paper, I'll turn it this way, and I'll write events down, what's happening here, and what the most likely outcomes are going to be as a result of. So then I just literally draw a line. It's that simple as to how I kind of put things together. And if you follow our track record, you and me, this is our thing. Going back as far as you want to go. We've been so on target with this. It scares me sometimes. I'm like, but you have to understand, it's not hard to kind of predict the future in many ways just by looking at where we are and then gauging from where we've been. So this game that we're playing here really has, it's a lot of advantages here. Being able to make, I don't want to say predictions, but looking at what the most likely outcomes are going to be based upon what we have now and what we've seen before. You understand? And by doing that, we're not going to be right 100% of the time. It's impossible to do that. But we're going to be right 90% or better. That's really the truth. And that's pretty freaking staggering. So look, I do have some current information that I want to cover with you, data, which is all fake anyway. But let me just go over real quick. First of all, what do we know is happening, people? Look, do your own research on everything I say. Always make up your own mind. I am not here to make up your mind for you. I can sketch this out. You understand? That's what I do. But again, this thing that we've built, this worldwide family that we've built, we're stronger together. You all know that. I am by far not the smartest guy here. All right. But, okay, with that, so what we need to do, and what I want you guys and girls to do is think about the things we speak about, take in the current environment, listen to your God-given intellect. We all have it. We're told not to, put too much faith in our own kind of gut feeling. I'm going to say wrong. I'm going to say we have that gut feeling. It's a gift from the Almighty, and use it. Seriously. It'll help you throughout life. There's just no doubt about it. Anyway, how many of you say, you know what, I wish I would have listened to my gut. I wish I would have listened to my gut. It's a real thing. Anyway, so moving into 2025 here, people, look, we know for a fact that central banks are in a race to the bottom. Look at the purchasing power of every single central bank issued note. Whatever central bank may be issuing it. Look at the purchasing power over time. With regard to the US dollar, there's maybe 1% left of its original purchasing power. That's a fact. It's over. Central banks, I've been telling you this for 10 years, are in a race to the bottom to see who can suck the purchasing power out faster. And this mechanism here is being exacerbated by multiple factors. The fact that debts and deficits continue to balloon around the world. At the same time, the economy of the world is contracting. Think about this. It's a vicious cycle, and it creates demand. Demand for central bank issued notes. When the currency is devalued, it allows the central banks to produce more of it. Makes sense to you? Because again, it takes more of those central bank issued notes to buy anything. You understand? So by central banks devaluing their currency, it creates demand for their product. Their product. When you have this mechanism, as we have now, central banks collectively, all the major central banks now cutting rates, on the back of that, having to balloon the money supply globally here, it creates the environment that we have now, where we are struggling, where people are trying to make ends meet, borrowing from their credit cards just to survive. All the things you and I have been talking about forever, they're happening now. What we're going to see, again, let me just touch on this, moving into 2025. How many of you, again, agree with what I'm saying here? Number one, and this is in no order here. This is just what came out of my head, okay, as I was writing stuff down here this morning. More war, more debt, much lower standard of living, forced suffering, a stock market probably more disconnected from reality moving forward, completely disconnected, much higher cryptocurrency, pressure on commodities, mass currency devaluation, and let me just say this, we could easily see the purchasing power of the US dollar cut in half. Think about what that would mean for you. Cut in half moving into 2025 here. Look, we're going to see a few things unfold here. With this, what I'm talking about specifically is global debt is going to continue to balloon. There's no way out of it. Okay. With that, the fact that alone is purchasing power negative, you've got the world turning their back on the dollar. That means that, again, think about it. You have a product, in this case a central bank issued note, that people don't want anymore. People are turning their back on. So that means all these extra bills that are now being created as the Fed has to, again, when you hear when the Fed is going to be cutting rates or promises by presidential selectees to give you low rates, it means the Fed has to get into the market by creating more cash out of nothing, which is their goal. And then get into the debt market and buy the debt to monetize the debt here. Again, think about what I'm saying here. The Fed is issuing debt, all central banks, issuing debt through one door in the form of currency, buying it back through another door, government treasuries, and that's how they monetize the debt. This is all that's keeping this illusion real of the United States. We're done. The United States, again, not only is the world turning their back on the dollar, we've lost our we used to be the economic engine of the world. We're now with the laughing stock of the world, and this is going to progress further moving forward here. Trade wars, real wars, World War III, we're here now. Okay, it just hasn't hit you yet. Oh, it's going to. Economically, financially, you're going to be, again, one of my things here, forced suffering. We're all going to be forced to suffer. You're suffering right now, most of you. Look at what's happening. You think this issue of inflation is just a United States issue because you think it's so-and-so's fault, it's Biden's fault? It's not Biden's fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's central banks, which again, no one can point their finger at here. Central banks run monetary policy. Inflation is a side effect of monetary policy. In this case, dollar devaluation or euro devaluation. Let's talk about that. UK inflation jumps more than expected. UK inflation jumps, underscoring Bank of England's stance for gradual rate cuts. British inflation jumps more than expected. Really? No one saw that one coming? How about this one? Fed to lower rates in December. I take exception to that. Unless the Fed, and it's very possible that they're going to do this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the 10-year yield this morning, 4.43. We're again getting very close to par with the federal funds rate, which is a bad economic sign. Although this market seems to be shrugging everything off. War, expanding of war. What does that mean? Why is the market shrugging that off? More war means more currency devaluation. Currency devaluation means more than likely a higher stock market. Do you understand? Because again, why? The purchasing power of the currency gets lost. It takes more currency to buy anything, even shares of stock. So war is potentially stock market very positive here. It's obviously going to be cryptocurrency positive. People, put this together in your head as we've been doing since forever. Draw a line, connect the dots. Anyway, look. Here's why I have been taking exception to the Federal Reserve possibly lowering rates again in December. I've talked about this before. Right now we have inflation continuing to rise. We know that. Okay, even all the numbers with regard to the UK, the Eurozone, here in the United States, everywhere, it's all fake. The data is fake, and central banks are putting out more propaganda in greater amounts to try to trick you into thinking things aren't as dire as they are. Things could not possibly be worse. We are seriously moving rapidly into a worst case scenario here. With regard to the currency, again, if you take one thing away from this video, understand the mechanism of central banks destroying the purchasing power of the currency moving forward is going to accelerate moving forward. This is part of their grand plan. This system is being taken apart piece by piece only to issue in the new system, the new tokenized system. The bridge is being built into the new system. You know that. By merging banks with cryptocurrency, it's mainstreaming it, building a bridge into the new system. People, come on, wake up if you're not awake yet. But again, going back to this market, look, there's the futures shrugging everything off. More war, the elimination of the middle class. So anyway, going back to what I was saying, the Fed's going to have a hard time justifying cutting rates in December unless they get into the debt market and start buying more debt, which obviously is their goal anyway. Every central bank. Think of what they're doing to us here. Central banks collectively, not just the Federal Reserve. They're issuing more of their product to us at the same time. But while they do that, it's devaluing it. It's sucking the purchasing power out of it. And no one's talking about it. No one's pointing their fingers anywhere in the world with regard to what central banks are doing. Instead, blame is being assigned. This is what it has to be. It's a deception. It's a politrick. When you hear a politician point at another politician and say it's their fault, why there's inflation, and I'm the guy that's going to fix it, realize you're being lied to right there. Right off the bat, again, it's no politician's fault. It's the central banks who are responsible for monetary policy. But again, you can't know that. Blame must be assigned. It's this person's fault. It's this group of people's fault why the economy is crumbling. It's crumbling not because of the fault of any group of people or any one person. It's central bank monetary policy, and it's presidents, kings, queens, monarchs, and dictators who are working or have been with their respective central bank to bring about a new system. Are you starting to see what's happening here? Now into 2025 again. Now that I've covered all this, again, more war, more debt, much lower standard of living, forced suffering, a stock market probably more disconnected from reality, much higher crypto prices, pressure on commodities, massive currency devaluation, possibly cutting in half of the US dollar with regard to purchasing power. You can't make this stuff up, but that's what it looks like where we're going. Are you starting to understand what's happening? The politics game, the lies that you're being told by the mainstream media about how things are going to be better, and they're not going to. When you wake up to the fact, finally, that it is not presidents, kings, queens, dictators, monarchs who run the system, and it's run by central banks, then you'll wake up to the reality of why you are in the spot you're in now. But you're going to hear a lot of talk as we predicted would happen. To the contrary of that, people, stop putting your faith in the wrong, they're not even human beings, things. You understand? They do not have your best interest in mind. You have to have your own best interest in mind. You have to believe in yourself. You got it? Finally, maybe? Anyway, look. Don't take your eyes off the ball here. We are being thrust rapidly into a worldwide economic meltdown with massive currency devaluation moving forward. This is what central banks have been on target. People, central banks were created for one reason going back over a century ago, to one day become our overlords, to own it all, to use their product, take us off of a wealth-based system, introduce their system and rob us blind, and then tell us, oh, we're going to lower rates, which obviously means currency devaluation, and your life is going to get better. How does it look for you? Go back 20, 30 years. I've been telling you for years, when we had much higher rates, much stronger currency. People were living much better than they are now. So, but the lie that you're going to be told is lower rates are going to help you, but no one's going to tell you. See, no politician will ever tell you. They'll say, hey, you know what, I promise you lower rates. But they won't tell you that that means currency devaluation as well, because they think you're stupid. Doesn't that insult your intelligence? Most people don't understand that, and I get it. Who really understands? Again, probably a handful of people on this planet really understand the dark underbelly of how the financial system actually works. But once you put this together in your head, it's not that hard. It really makes everything clear to you. And we are being led, we're leading ourselves to the slaughter here, okay? You must take action. Realize what's happening to you. Massive currency devaluation moving forward and a bridge to a new system. That's what's happening right freaking now. The merging of banks and cryptocurrency to mainstream us into the new system. You gotta be on the opposite side of this. Number one, you do need to have cryptocurrency in your portfolio. There's no doubt about it, especially in this environment that we have today. If you don't have, you're gonna lose. I mean, stop listening to the frank imbeciles that have been wrong 100% of the time talking about how Bitcoin's going to zero, right? When I told people to buy Bitcoin at 17,500, I got laughed at, I got ridiculed. Greg, you're leading your people into the slaughter. It's 94,000 right now. Stop listening to these idiots who probably have a day job. I don't know what they do. Me, all they do is study this market around the clock. Who do you think has a better handle on how things work? Someone who has a day job and maybe is a part-time YouTuber? Or someone who's in the market 24/7, who has his own skin in the game? You tell me who you want to listen to. Look at our track record yet again. I'll put our track record against anybody on the planet. We've outperformed them all across the board. Why? Not because we're smarter, but because we use our God-given intellect. Number two, it's too easy to see what's happening here with regard to the stock market. I've been telling people to buy. Greg, you're leading your people to slaughter. Greg Mannarino is an idiot. Record high. No less than 52 this year alone. This disconnect from reality is going to get even worse. You must have exposure to commodities, people. Silver is my favorite asset on the planet Earth, believe me. Risk on, which is what we have now in this market, shrugging everything off on the promise of more war, more death, more pain, more suffering, currency devaluation, loss of purchasing power. That's what you're seeing here. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? When you think about it, we're not going to change a damn thing. You and I have been so on target with all this, people. It's out of control. Anyway, one more time. 2025, more war, more debt, more suffering, much lower standard of forced suffering, lower standard of living. A stock market probably more disconnected from reality. Much higher cryptocurrencies here. Pressure on commodities, which means they're on sale. Doesn't mean they're not going to go up. Because of the dollar devaluation in this case. Commodities are priced in dollars here. But sound about right to you? I would have to say that most of you here are going to say, absolutely, Greg, you nailed it to the freaking wall. And I think we have nailed it to the freaking wall. All right, people, look, I really, really hope you got something out of this video. I want you guys and girls to start thinking more about reality and not putting your faith in a system that no longer exists, in creatures that do not have your best interest in mind. And I don't care how much you think I'm saying the wrong thing to you right now. Look around you, and maybe you'll start to wake up, whoever you are in the world. All right? I want to hear from you on these things. Greg, you know what? You make sense to me. Greg, you know what? You don't make sense at all. And if I don't make sense to you, I am not too old to learn a new trick. Tell me where I've got any of this wrong. All right? With that said, people, today I will see you post-market, 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern for the live stream, all right? Anyway, thanks for bearing with me yesterday. I just needed to decompress a little bit. I really just did. All right, maybe I need another vacation, and I'm gonna have to take one soon. All right, I'm out of here. Love you all from the heart with all I got. And please share this stuff. Get it out there. Your comments are very important. It allows the algorithms to pick it up. Good, bad, or indifferent. Just, write something. It allows the algorithms to pick it up. Those thumbs up, gold. All right. You got something out of this? I would appreciate that too. All right. I will see you later, people. Until we meet again, please take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Okay.